Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different from what I would normally do. I'm not doing like an album review. Instead I'm doing a review of the 2015 remix of Paul McCartney's album Tug of War here. So I'm not actually going to be talking about the music what's on here. I'm just going to be comparing the 2015 remix to the original mix, both of which are included in this deluxe box set. This has been suggested by quite a few people. I think it was James Boyce, I think that's how you say his name, that commented on my unboxing of this, saying that I should maybe compare the two mixes. So that's what I'm going to do. So when this album was added to the archive set last month, it was the only one to actually have been remixed so far. Even its companion album, what was released at the same time, Pipes of Peace, that only got remastered. This had been remixed, and I'm not too sure why. The book in here, what you get, explains it a little bit, but not too much. I've heard that it was actually for a technical reason, that when they were having to make the high quality downloads what you get with this here, the way that they originally mixed the album, wasn't compatible, make high quality downloads, or something like that. So they had to go back to the original master tapes and start again. However, it is a bit strange how then Pipes of Peace, what came after a year later, didn't need this. But the technology about to change by the time that album was being mixed. So so it was remixed in March 2015 by a guy called Steve Orchard, with Paul's supervision actually. There's a picture in the book of this here, that's showing them actually mixing this. So that's what I was thinking of doing for this video, was just sort of outlining some general differences between the two, and then going into a bit of detail about specific examples of the main differences between the two mixes. So just a couple of general differences to start with. I'd say the remix certainly has more bass to it, is louder as well. The guitars seem to have been put up in the mix a lot more, and it's definitely a louder mix. Because when I was comparing these two, I had them on a playlist on my iPod, each of the songs one after another. So I'd have the original mix of Tug of War, then the 2015 remix, and then take it away the original one, and then the remix of that, and then so on. So I was comparing the two versions side by side, and I was finding myself that I was actually having to turn the volume down when the remix came on. I got a comfortable volume for the original one, and the remix was just really loud on it. So whereas we have made it louder, which works in some of the songs, doesn't in others, I'm afraid. I'd say the original mix certainly sounds more smooth and lush. It's very that is something what this album and a George Martin's production on this album often gets called out for, it being too smooth and too sugary sweet. The thing I would say though, with the original mix, is when comparing it side by side, it does seem kind of flat, and I don't think the original mix what you get in here has actually been remastered at all. It was just as it was released in 1982. But now on to some more specific detail differences, what I'm going to look at in a bit more detail.
What with one thing and another, it's a tug of war. What with one thing and another, it's a tug of war. So
that was the opening of Tug of War there. They're the two mixes side by side, and as you can tell, again, the remix, the orchestra is much more quiet, and the guitar has been raised a lot more in the mix. I feel with that song, it kind of loses some of its grandeur, about it. A lot of people, I've said, that this song is Paul McCartney's Imagine, and it kind of loses that sort of thing a bit, when having this string arrangement toned down a bit.
In years to come, they may discover. In years to come, they may discover.
Another major difference in the song Tug of War itself is like is at the middle bit when all like the guitars come in, like the bridge section of the song. For me, with the remix, it doesn't actually come through as much. I mean, like it's supposed to be like really like powerful section like of the song. It's much more effective on like the like on like the original mix, I find, and like the whole song is like much more smooth as well, like on like the original one. Just that just flows a lot more better. Next one is Take It Away here, the clip you just heard. Remix for this one is very fussy sounding and like kind of cluttered, I feel. Especially when like, the horns come in, it feels like everything is trying to fight in to get into like the main sort of like spot of like the mix. It doesn't really sound too great, I must be honest. Also on this, like the introduction with like the drums, I'm not going to play a clip, but they sound really loud on like the remix, like too loud almost. It's just like this is probably like the worst one like out of like the lot of like the remixes.
Good morning. Good morning.
Next one up is What's That You're Doing? And this is one where I actually would say I prefer the remix to. I've never been a huge fan like of this track, but the remix, it just adds like some life to the song and there's more bass to it, and like I feel that it has definitely like improved it. It doesn't sound as digital like as like the original. Like the original one sounds very flat compared to this.
What about the time we met? Well, I suppose that you could say, what about the time we met? Well, I suppose that you could say that we were.
That clip there was Here Today, and like more specifically like the echo vocal line that comes in. This is probably like the biggest difference in like between like the remix and like the original one for me. It's like the inclusion of like the full response line, like about like the what about the time we met. On the original mix, it fades out, but on like the new one, it sort of stays. So I think that that's an improvement. Overall, with the song, the guitar has been turned up, the orchestra has turned down. I think that this makes for an I think that this makes for an improvement with this track, because it makes the song much more like intimate and personal, which I.
Ballroom dancing.
Next one up is Ballroom Dancing, and overall this one here, the remix just sounds too cluttered, too fussy, very similar to Take It Away. Like I find it's more like the loud songs, the ones with quite like a large extravagant arrangement to it, that really do suffer from like this remix here. The brass sounds really shrill on it and like over the top, whereas on like the original mix it sounds a bit more smooth, really. Also, this one here, the bass is way too loud. When listening through my speaker system, all you could hear was like the bass line of that, and like it wasn't really that pleasant. Another issue with Ballroom Dancing is there is like that about 50 seconds like into the song, there is actually a problem with like the backing vocals. They seem to go on for like a little bit too long. Like we'll just play out I could just play like the clip there. Like I'm not too sure like if that's like intentionally part of like the remix, but it does seem to be like a bit like an error. Next one up I'm going to talk about here is Wanderlust, and like the vocals during the bridge. They sound like they've got like an effect on them, which like you don't hear with the original mix. Like there's like a similar issue with like parts of like the title song Tug of War as well. Kind of sounds like unnatural and like not really pleasant to like well, no, it's not pleasant, but just that it's not what I'm used to hearing like all these years I've known this album.
You gotta get it. You gotta get it. You gotta get it. You gotta get it. Don't.
Another one now with a improvement from the remix is actually Get It. The guitar's louder on this one here, which I think makes the song better. I find it's like stripped down songs and like the quieter songs, stuff like Somebody Who Cares, Here Today, and this one that will benefit from like the remix. Dress Me Up as a Robber. This one here is the drums are just way too loud in like this remix here. Again, it's very fussy and very cluttered. It's about this song here like has like a lot of there's a lot going on like in like this track here, and again like this remix just sounds really quite bad, I must say. The original just flows much better. So overall, I'd say that like the remix sounds okay when listening through earphones, through headphones, but doesn't sound very good through speakers. But the original mix sounds very pleasant through both. And I would say though recently I have been listening to the remix more, but that's probably just simply like out of curiosity, like wanting to hear something a bit different, and like also like in like preparation for like this video to like identify like the differences between the two. I'd say the original mix is much more pleasant. Certainly benefits from like George Martin's like production work, like his intentions to make this like a very smooth sounding album. Certainly like can be heard like on like the original mix, and like the new remix kind of like ruins his ruins that a little bit. So as far as songs what I prefer the remix to, I'd say Somebody Who Cares, What's That You're Doing, Here Today, and Get It. I do actually prefer the remixes of those. It kind of just like adds like a little bit more life to them, I feel. However, the slightly louder, more complex like arrangement songs kind of suffer. Like the remix sounds very fussy. Again, like the songs don't breathe as much really. Like they sound very cluttered. I would say this should have just got a straight this should have just got like a straightforward like remaster. Whatever the reason was for like remixing it, I don't think that they should have just released like the simple 2 CD edition like with like the remix. Remastering this would have I don't think it would have improved the album, because this is the CD here what I actually grew up listening to. This is the 1993 remaster, and this sounds great actually, but I know that a lot of people were praising Pipes of Peace when that was remastered alongside this, that it sounded great. So they should have just done a straightforward remaster, because this remix has very much been divided opinions, but I'm on the side that the original mix, or rather the 1993 remaster, which is certainly much closer to the original mix than this new remaster, is the best way to go with the album Tug of War. So I hope you have enjoyed this rather different sort of video here. I'm not too sure how I'll edit this all together, but hopefully it's worked, and I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.